everybody. Good afternoon. Happy Wednesday. Happy Wellness Wednesday. I was just smiling as I came on because I just noticed a message in a question I asked about what if rest wasn't lazy but actually the most productive thing you could do today, and how would you spend it? And a friend of mine commented that this morning she spent it finishing off a novel instead of anything else related, like setting up her social media posts, smiley faced. Amazing, right? Amazing. We're going to go into this in a moment, but you know, I can relate so well because normally I would not allow myself to do anything but work. I would never give myself permission to just do nothing. So that's what today's topic is about, giving yourself permission to rest. Why doing nothing is doing something, and that just confirms it for me in that little message that was on the post today. So thank you for commenting. I love that, and I've just replied. So yes. Hello. I am live, just checking, and somebody's watching. So say hello and welcome. We're going to normalize this today. We're going to normalize this permission to rest, yeah, as a biological necessity, not a reward. So before we begin, let's just arrive in the moment. Let's just arrive in this space, in this time, for this next 30 minutes, 20 minutes, 30 minutes, while we have this conversation. So let's take one slow, deep breath together. And release it even more slowly. And just make any adjustments that you feel you need so you can sit comfortably for this time that we spend together on our Wellness Wednesday topic. Feeling your feet on the ground, your body on the seat, your bottom on the seat. The fact that you're here is enough. So thank you for watching. Thank you for joining us, and welcome. Let's begin. Yes. So before we dive in today, I just want to take a moment to acknowledge something really beautiful that happened when I posted a separate question in our community this week. And that was, so I asked the community, rest is fill in the blank. What does rest mean for you? What is rest to you? Rest means, and fill in the blank. And here's what came back. Rest is essential. Rest is fabulous. Rest is necessary. And rest is needed. Yeah? And a reset that helps you show up more fully, more focused, more clear, more grounded, more connected in both your work and your life. And what you're doing in life, family, children, all your commitments, as we all have. So yes, all of those things are correct. It's essential, it's fabulous, it's necessary, it's needed. And then there was one that really stopped me in my tracks. Someone said that rest felt like a luxury, a privilege, something you could only earn, something you could only have if your circumstances were just right, where you had you could make that time. Yeah? I want you to sit with that for a moment because it's a very common theme. And I think that response is one of the most honest things that I've ever heard in a long time. Why? Because I feel like I know just from the work I do with women that a lot of women in this space especially feel exactly that way, even if they wouldn't say it, right? It's like, oh, I'm too embarrassed to say that. Yeah? So I asked a second question around that. And actually, a second question was around, you know, the question I asked, because I think it's really important to understand that, you know, most of us identify or understand that or feel like that we have to earn our rest. So the question I asked after that was, which one of these sound like you? And I gave a few responses, a few options. And the one that came back was this. I rest, but I feel guilty the whole time. Again, I rest, but I feel guilty the whole time. So it's essential, it's necessary versus a luxury, and guilty when you do it. Can you see what's happening there? So intellectually, we know rest matters, rest's important. We can name it. We can say what it is. We know it's important. We can say the word. But the moment we actually stop to do that, the guilt starts to walk in, starts to flood in, straight through. Straight into here. And so that's exactly what we're unpacking today together. Because last week we talked about movement as medicine and how the body needs to move what the mind cannot process. So yes, movement is just as important. And it's not a punishment. We talked about it not being a punishment, though an actual release. It's the way we move and the way we release what's holding on in the body. So this week is the conversation that's on the other side of that, which is movement and rest, and because movement and rest they seem opposite. They're not. They're actually partners. They work together. And most of us have forgotten how to do one or both of them, basically. Because rest isn't laziness. Rest is not a treat. Rest is a biological requirement. And your nervous system needs it. Just like movement, your nervous system needs it to release. Yes? And the other side of that is we need to relax to release at the same time. And it can be a little bit conflicting, but they all work together. So your nervous system needs it in a way that our body needs water, our body needs food. And I would even go as far as saying we need it as much as air, right? Because without oxygen we can't survive, and without genuine rest, nothing else works the way that we want. Because we're pushing, and eventually the body gives in. And the quality of life diminishes, depletes. Everything slows down, everything's harder. Everything feels like a struggle. And I know this personally because I saw my mum go down this path, and she passed away at the age of 61 in the back of an ambulance. And this is why I'm so passionate about the work I do and supporting women to understand how things can be so much easier, how this journey we call life can be so much more smoother. But here's what I see most women do. They confuse the collapse with rest. They run so hard for so long that eventually their bodies just give out. And they're forced to rest. They're forced. Not a very nice place to be resting. That's not rest. That's the body forcing a shutdown because you did not choose to stop. You didn't choose to take the brakes when you needed it. You kept pushing and pushing and pushing. And I know this very well. And, you know, I felt like I had to keep going to make everything better. But I was actually making everything worse. Because these are patterns. Real rest, what I see is real rest is actually, it's being replaced by the scrolling, the staying busy so you don't, so you don't feel productive, or feeling productive by being busy, but you're not actually doing anything, by helping everyone else because sitting still is just so uncomfortable. Yeah. And just by filling every quiet moment with noise, because silence has started to feel very unfamiliar. And I know for me, I've had to learn to do the meditations. I've had to learn to be still. And it's still a struggle some days because my mind is going in 100 miles an hour, wanting to, do the checklist of all the things I have to do. But I have to keep reminding myself and bringing myself back into my home. I call my body my home. Yeah. So is any of this sounding familiar? So yeah, learning to do the uncomfortable until it becomes comfortable is probably one of the most powerful things you can do. Because here's what I know from decades of doing the work with women and also from my own personal experiences, my journey, that the inability to rest is rarely ever about time. I remember I had to make time. So what is it really about? Well, for me and for many I've spoken with, it's about worth. Somewhere along the way, many of us absorbed the belief, here we go into beliefs again, that our value is tied to our output. That we're only lovable, we're only accepted, we're only enough when we are productive. That runs deep, and it ran deep in mine. I watched my mum, never ever stopping. The stress that it caused in her body, oh my goodness, crazy. Eventually to her death. So rest threatens our identity. So the body stays busy to stay safe. Let me repeat that. Rest threatens our identity, our productiveness, our being, our well-being, our way of being in the world, the way we operate, so that the body stays busy to stay safe. Because the number one human need is safety and security. So it's actually essentially keeping us, by being busy, we're keeping ourselves safe, because then we don't have to look at all the things that we need to look at in order to move forward. And that's why some of our community members could name rest as essential, as necessary, as needed, and still feel guilty the entire time. The head knows, but the body is still running that old program, that old pattern of behavior. I want to actually help you today redefine rest, because I think we have a very narrow idea of what it actually looks like. Real rest can look like sitting outside with a cup of tea and no agenda. Exactly what my friend said, sitting and finishing your book. By the way, I did that last night before I went to bed, finished off an amazing book. And I was never a reader. I've always been a follower of reading, personal development, spiritual development, but mainly listening because I'm very audio. But I actually finished a book first time in I don't know if I've ever finished a fiction. All right? I've just never gone down that path, but it was so enjoyable. It also looks like a nap, but not just any nap, a nap without feeling guilty. It's like, okay, it's my time to reset my body, my nap. It means, it looks like saying no to something that you only said yes to out of obligation. It means just staring out the window, looking at nature, or looking at nothing, just allowing your body, your mind to wander, to be free, to not think about the everyday stuff. It means going for a very slow meditative walk, no phone call, no podcast, just being in your body, intentionally walking in nature, or in the park even. Or just an evening of chilling out, not really having any agenda. No, you don't need to do anything. Once the kids are in bed, I hear you mums. I was there once. I was a single mum of 4, so I get it. So rest is anything that allows your nervous system to downregulate, basically, from shifting into that doing into that being. And the beautiful irony, I should say, the more genuinely you rest, the more capacity you have for everything else. You just seem to have more tolerance, more patience, more connection, more calm. When you allow yourself, you choose rest. And also, if you're a person that has, very limited sleeping hours, then it's imperative that you make up for that rest during the day. We need, as women, 8 to 9 hours rest, sleep a night. And if you don't get that, then it's imperative. And I have some really cool hacks to help you with that throughout the day. And they only take 15, 20 minutes, not a lot of time. All it is letting yourself have permission to do that. So one of our community members described it so perfectly this week as rest as a reset. Yes, hallelujah. Rest is a reset. It helps you to show up, as I said, more clear, more grounded, more focused in all areas of your life, for your children, for your partner, for your family, for your business or work. It's not indulgent. It's just wisdom. So I want to offer you a reframe that I hope you can carry with you beyond today as a practice. And that is like reminding yourself that doing nothing is doing something. And when you rest, you are consolidating, you are repairing, you are repairing cells even, you are integrating, you are regenerating, you are resetting. You're allowing your nervous system to process everything it's been managing 24/7. You are filling your cup that everyone else pours out of. So, imperative. And for those of you named rest as a luxury this week, I want to gently offer you this. Rest is not a luxury, and it's not a luxury for the privileged. Rest is a right. It's a birthright. Reclaim it. Even if it's small moments, small increments of time during the day, It's going to be one of the most revolutionary things a woman who has spent years giving everything to everyone else can do. So rest is not the absence of productivity. Reset is the foundation of it. So reset is your word. Rest is reset. Sit with that for a moment. I want to also ask you a question. Truly, honestly answer this. You don't have to tell anyone. You can just tell yourself. You're the only one accountable for you. When did you last truly rest? When you weren't scrolling, you weren't collapsing, but you were genuinely, intentionally resting. As a conscious decision, you chose to rest. When was that? And when you do take that rest, I want you to notice this week, what are the stories that come up when you imagine that, when you're resting, or if you imagine yourself resting? What do those voices in your head say? What do the voices in your head say? You're lazy, get up, you haven't got time for this. We all have them. I know I did. Guilt kicks in. Because that voice that you're hearing is really worth getting curious about, really understanding how that program's running you. So this week, choose a moment, even 15 minutes, like when you can just do nothing. Intentionally do nothing, just sit. On purpose. Without your phone, without a reason, or you have to come up with a reason to go and sit. And when the guilt comes up, because I know it will, it does, until it doesn't, because this is a practice. So when that comes up, just say to yourself this: resting is not falling behind. Resting is how I come back to myself. It's essential. It's necessary. I would write that down. This is something you could do. Write it down, and on a post-it note, if you've got a post-it note or a bit of paper, and put it on your fridge. When you open the fridge, you'll see that behind the on the bathroom mirrors and behind the toilet door. As a reminder, we need to reprogram that old way of thinking, that old guilt program, and that you're not worthy. So can you do that? Have little tags, post-it notes around the house to remind you. Rest is coming home to myself, rejuvenating, resetting, all the things, whatever words resonate with you. So, if this is landing for you today, and you know that you're doing the pushing and the inability to stop, and it's costing you more than just tiredness, I would love to have a conversation with you. Book a chat with me. It will cost you nothing but 15 minutes of your time. Okay? 15 minutes of your time. And let's explore what's really underneath, what's really driving that unconscious behavior, that unconscious, there's thoughts, there's emotions that do not serve you, that cause you to just keep going. Because you do deserve rest. Not when everything's done. Right now, exactly as you are. So if you're watching and you're hearing this, go take 10-15 minute rest, doing nothing. Close your eyes. Best rest in the afternoon for me is a yoga nidra. 20 minutes, feel like I've had 8 hours. That's one of the hacks that I was talking about if you don't get enough good night's sleep, or you have restless sleep. So my lovelies, just remember, rest is not a reward. Rest is not finishing everything off before you can rest. It's the reason you can keep going. And that is the most incredible gift you can give to yourself. Yeah. So if this is resonating, pop me a comment. We've got, Chris May and Sophie Soul. Hello. Hello. Thank you for watching and sending you so much love and so much. I'm giving you permission to rest, but you can give you permission to rest as well. Thank you for being here, everybody, and I'm here for you always. Lots of love. Bye now.